Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo! Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Today's topic, guys, is very special. And I want those people who are getting older to hear this topic very well. I want those people who are starting to see that their dreams are not unachievable. I want people to still get inspired. I want people to want to do more. I want people to want to grow. Today's topic is there a time limit for success? Let me say that one more time. Today's topic is there a time limit for success? For those who's asking, I'm from New York, guys. We're in New York, and I'm loving it, guys. Beautiful New York. So look, I've always asked this question over years. I'm watching a lot of people get older, and they're literally just letting life pass them by. One of my guys, Kinsey, likes to say that we have something called adult privilege. Adult privilege meaning you can do things still, guys, it's still time. But why is so many people are willing to accept less when they deserve so much more? Why is so many people willing to not even run a race and quit before they even start? First lap, you already gave up. Too many people are not even willing to chase their dreams anymore. When you look at some of the ages of people becoming successful, becoming millionaires, right? We're gonna also ask you, today you're gonna learn that the average millionaire, at what age do they become millionaires? The percentages is very low, right? But it gets higher as you get older. More older people become millionaires than younger people. Just so you know that. More older people become millionaires more than younger people. Some of us are scared and inferior, right? So I'm asking today's question. Does success rather has a time limit, right? The standard apple tree can take 6 years to bear its first piece of fruit. Listen to that statement, guys. You heard that? A standard apple tree can take 6 years to bear its first fruit. But imagine along that 6-year process, you quit on a tree, you give up on a tree. Say you took care of this tree for 5 years, and then magically say, I give up on a tree. You allow someone else to take over the tree, and now that person start bearing fruit in a year. You ever seen the tree, right? And when it's above ground, it's so small. But then when you look at the roots under the ground, it's doing so much more. That's what a lot of people don't realize. A lot of things don't just happen overnight. Too many of us are delusional in our own realities. I want someone to be re-inspired today. I want someone to wake up and say, yo, tomorrow I can do so much more. I want someone to give themselves a second chance. And some of us a third chance. And some of us a fourth chance. But some of us haven't even taken that first chance. I always say this in reality. The person that's unwilling to take the last shot will always criticize you for missing. The person that's unwilling to take the last shot will always criticize you for missing. Some of us got to get back in the ring and take another shot. We've allowed ourselves to believe that this is an accepted fate. Too many of us deserve so much more. And why I say deserve? Because you are working hard, but sometimes you could be working hard but doing the wrong things. Let me say that again. Sometimes you could be working hard but doing the wrong things. Some people haven't reached their plateaus or their abilities because they're around people who aren't going to allow the meaning. And it's an allowance. Some people are in your way from you getting to your next levels. There are people that will block you, literally block you. And they will stand in your way. I'm gonna tell you ways that people can stop you from becoming great. Have you ever had a conversation and you told somebody your vision, and when you start telling them your vision, the first thing they say is something like, if I was you, I wouldn't do that. I don't think that's gonna happen. You wasting your time. How can I waste time when I haven't even got on the clock yet? Because I'm gonna tell you something, no one knows the time, the minute, and the second for their levels of success. No one knows, right? Some pearls can develop over a period of time. Let's say like 6 months. Larger pearls can take up to 4 years to develop. This is reality. You might be that real gem, that rare gem, right? That diamond, right? But a lot of times people don't want to see that they're that gem. You're that gem. This is why in your mind you envisioning yourself becoming greater, because of the fact of the matter is you're meant to be greater. Sometimes the visions that you see in your mind is actually your reality. Because anyone that's at a level, they've seen themselves in visions before they became that vision. You have to believe it before you can achieve it. And most people who don't believe it will never achieve it. On average, small businesses take 2 to 3 years to become profitable. On average, small businesses take 2 to 3 years to become profitable. But imagine if the 2 to 3 year process, you did not want to wait or be patient. And now you're no longer going to reap the fruits because you want things to happen overnight. I genuinely believe that social media has made us microwave mentality. It has made us minuscule as far as waiting and patience. Most of us have no patience. And this is what it is. How can you win when you haven't even gotten the game? How can you bear fruit from the tree that you've never even planted? How can you access success when your mind already believes that it's not worthy of success? How can you grow when you haven't even allowed yourself to be taken advantage? You allow yourself to be taken advantage of by your worst days. Your worst days are more profitable than your good days. Sometimes you overly indulge on your bad days. You talk about everything that's going to happen negative before you talk about positive. There are some people in life right now, on bad days, they still find good. Watch this. There are people that'll see rain and say, guess what? At least my grass got water for free. There are some people that wake up and say, you know what? The bus is late. Maybe that's the accident we avoided. There are people right now who will always find something positive in negative things. But there are also more people that find negative in positive things. We got to look at our lens of how we think. And that's the problem. We have a mentality for the way we think is what ultimately allows us to not get to levels. It is easier to fail when one hasn't tried to do anything. When you've done nothing, of course, you accepted failure. So when you're trying and someone's laughing at you for trying, you should look at them like, at least I'm willing to. Your biggest critics is ones who won't do what you're willing to do. Your biggest critics are ones who aren't willing to do what you're willing to do. Your biggest fans is going to be people who don't know you. Stop expecting people to support you that don't care for you. You feel like, oh, because that's my sibling, that doesn't mean nothing. That's because that's my cousin, that don't mean nothing. That's your mother, that don't mean nothing. Some of them have made reservation for who they believe you to be, and if you go past what they believe you to be, they don't believe that you're going to do anything more, because people make reservation on their beliefs of you. But one thing about life is, when growing, the hardest part about growing is the fact that you grow past people. And some of the people in the world right now cannot grow because they're not willing to go past people. It's like riding in that lane behind that car that's driving extremely slow. You're waiting for your destination to get to your destination, but the person you're driving behind is driving extremely slow. So what you're supposed to do is put that indicator on, get in the next lane, and go around that car. And that's what you got to do with people. If you're not willing to put that indicator on, get in the next lane, and go around that car, you're going to keep driving slow to your destination. And a lot of us want destinations, but we don't realize that we have to get around those other cars, whether they're friends, family, or people that you may know. Some people are meant to keep you from getting to your levels. So I ask this question: does success have a time limit? And I'm going to go on record and say no. But most people have put the time limit on themselves. You put the time limit. Every day that it's a blessing to wake up, you don't realize that this is the day to pursue. This is the day to chase. This is the day to go after my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, and anything that I believe that I'm worthy of. Because I'm going to tell you something. There is no one in the world that can't tell me I'm worthy of something that I believe I'm worthy of. There is no one in the world that can tell me that I'm not worthy of what I believe I'm worthy of. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you eat something bad, right, and you keep eating something bad, I don't get mad at the person that keep eating something bad. I get mad at the person that's, why you keep eating it? You keep talking about the person can't cook, but you eating their food. You say you don't like failure, but you accept it. You go to the reservation, you make reservations for failure. Your mind can believe that it's meant to fail by you keep giving your mind the ability to fail. Most of us make an acceptance to why we fail. We accommodate our failure. We say things like, my daddy wasn't there. We say things like the neighborhood I grew up in. We say things like, if my mother would have showed me. We say things like, I am not worthy. We say things that ultimately make your mind believe that it's not deserving of what you're deserving of. You've given yourself a false mentality. Of course you're gonna fail when you keep telling yourself that you're meant to fail. Of course you're not gonna get far when you believe that you're already at your destination. This is why we fail. This is why we fail. We've accepted just enough. When I tell you this though, good enough is not good enough when you realize that you're not good enough, and if you don't do more than good enough, you'll never be more than good enough. Sound crazy to the average mind, but that's the reality. Good enough will never be good enough when you realize that you're better than good enough. And if you only do what's good enough, you're only going to be good enough. Some people don't understand fast money comes with slow problems. Fast money comes with slow problems. This is what we don't talk on. I've noticed that most people have put a timestamp to why they're not successful, and then what they do is they accept the fact that they're not successful, and then they'll blame others for the fact that they're not successful. But the vision that you see in your mind is your vision. So why do you expect people to support your vision who aren't meant to support your vision? I want to go into this list. This list is of people who got successful after 40 years old. And these are some prominent figures. These are people who got successful after 40 years old. I'm gonna go by his name. You know his name is Colonel Sanders. That's the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken and became a famous figure after the franchise, the business in his 60s. Colonel Sanders, KFC, became an item or a novelty at this point, right? A franchise that is something to be reckoned with as far as chicken. When he was 60 years old, KFC, who would have thought? Stan Lee. Now he's a phenomenon. Stan Lee is literally a phenomenon. Created his first hit comic, The Fantastic Four, just shy of his 39th birthday in 1961. In the next few years, he created the legendary Marvel Universe, who has characters such as Spider-Man. This is Stan Lee. 39 years old. But if you would have told Stan Lee it was over, Stan Lee wouldn't be Stan Lee today. And we wouldn't know who the hell Spider-Man is. One of the guys in the studio got on a Spider-Man shirt. Come here 1 second. Can I steal you? Look at my guy. Shoulder. That's how big Spider-Man is. Grown-ups, we love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is like literally a part of the world to the point where people think he's real. I know kids that go crazy over Miles Morales. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, was in her 30s and struggling as a single mother when she wrote her first book. And it was eventually published when she was 32 years old. Now I'm asking, who don't know Harry Potter? Who don't know Harry Potter? We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. I'm gonna give you so many people that show you that it is beyond possible for an individual to wake up later in life and achieve. It is feasibly possible because you know what you're not tolerable of anymore. When you stop accepting less, you'll realize that you deserve so much more. But if you keep accepting less, you'll realize you ain't deserving of anything. Henry Ford was 45 years old when he created the revolutionary Model T in 1908. Now I'm asking anyone on my live, who don't know what Ford is? Who don't know Ford? Some of us probably aren't allowed driving Fords. And that's in 1904, that's what, 1908? That was before the First World War, right? Damn. This is what I'm getting at. There are people who can do so much more, but you was given so little, So you believe that you're deserving of little, so therefore you can't make yourself believe what your mind can't see. If the eyes don't see it, the mind won't believe it. The eyes have to see that it's possible. Betty White didn't become an icon until she joined the cast of the Mary Tyler Moore Show in 1973 at the tender age of 51 years old. Man, Betty, do your thing, Betty. Betty was somebody's grandma and still believed in her acting career and got her big break. And Betty, you go, girl. But again, when you sit back and evaluate the fact that it is still beyond possible for someone to make 1,000 mistakes and on 1,001 day make a great choice that can change their life. We're not talking about playing lotto. We're talking about doing what's possibly possible for you to become something called possible. Most cases, the word impossible says itself that I'm possible. But most people believe that they're impossible. But the word in itself says that I'm possible. How can anything happen to someone who don't even believe that it can happen? I'm gonna go on record and say this. Growing up in my life, I was scared of trying anything new. I was that student that was scared to raise his hand. And the reason being is because I didn't want people to see that I was intelligent. I didn't want people to see that I was smart. So therefore, I always hid back how knowledgeable I was. And I was very inquisitive. Most people that are very intelligent, they're very inquisitive. And why I say that is because they always want to gain new information. In most cases, either a person has something called a fixed mentality or someone has something called a growth mentality. I had an extreme level of a growth mentality. I wanted to always learn more information. But I was always scared that someone was going to judge me, right? And that's the problem. And you sit back and evaluate that. And I say to myself, looking back, if I didn't take those shots and I didn't believe in myself, nothing would have substantially changed in my life. Because they talk about this word, and I think this is one of the most misdiagnosed things on earth, is the word called insanity. There are people that are sitting there every day doing everything against themselves, but believe that they're going to be every bit of successful. That don't even make sense. If you want more, you have to do more. I genuinely believe that failure is an accepted fate. It's an accepted fate. And the reason why I say it's accepted, because you have to choose every day to do nothing different so you can't get any better results. Listen to that statement. You have to choose every day that you're going to do everything not to change your life to stay at that same level. That's the person that works out but still eat bad. They're trying to maintain their weight. If you want to maintain a bad situation, you got to continue to do what you've been doing. But if you want drastic changes in your life, then you have to make drastic changes in your life. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by accident. Everything happens by choices, decisions, and actions. When you accept that your actions can literally change your whole economical positioning. Because watch this narrative to all my adults on here. Since we were kids, our mothers always told us the 3 tips of all tips, but we didn't listen. And I want y'all to finish this with me. Birds of a feather flock together. Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And lastly, you are the company you keep. And the sad part is we keep keeping company that's not allowing us to elevate. The cheat code is the people you around. The cheat code is the conversations you have. The cheat code is the environment you're going to. The cheat code is the things that you're doing. Those are the cheat codes. People always ask me, yo, Q, give me a cheat code to skip steps. I said, get around better people. That is the cheat code. But if you continue to behave as such, you're going to continue to get the results as such. One must accept that in order to win, you got to know that winning takes a certain level of mentality. You will never be great with a certain mentality. You will never win with a loser's mentality. Your results are a reflection of your thinking in most cases. Your results are a reflection of your thinking in most cases. I'm a type of guy, I don't want to choose to lose. I want to accept the fact that winning, it's up to me. Changing my life is up to me. I had those conversations with myself. I asked somebody on my live today, when was the last time you had a conversation with yourself? When? When was the last time you told yourself the truth? When? When was the last time? Ask my people on my live, do this with me. Today I say this to myself, yo, Q, you're great. Q, you can do so much more. Q, you are worthy. Q, you are deserving. Q, if you continue to go after your dreams, your aspirations, and your goals, you're gonna hit it. Sometimes you're gonna get days that you're gonna wanna quit, but guess what? When you quit, you give up on your dream. At the end of the day, sometimes there has to be nightmares before you to enjoy the dream. But most don't understand paradise if they didn't go through the storm. You don't know what rich is if you've never been broke. The people that's madly in love at one point got their heart broken. Failure tastes so much better when you meet success. But you understand this along your journey towards your process of becoming this greatest version of self. How can you fix what you can't see? How can you fix what you can't see? A lot of people can't see. They're not fixing anything because they don't want to see anything more than what they see. It's an allowance. It's an allowance. This is not paying yourself. You know when you did work around the house, how your parents paid you? Well, I think you should start paying yourself as an adult, right? By pouring into yourself different levels of success, different goals, rewarding yourself to do so much more. I'm asking my people on my live, have you ever set a financial goal for a whole year? If you've done it, raise your hand. Anybody set a financial goal for themselves? Have you? Never set a financial goal? Have you? Have you ever said, yo, if I want to hit this level by the end of this year? Kids, you have? Jessica, have you ever? I'm gonna tell you something. One of the greatest feelings in the world is when you give yourself a timestamp to do something that you know is more than possible, and you actually beat that timestamp. You know the level of confidence you build when you start doing things like that? You tell yourself, okay, you say, I want to do a $5,000 goal this year. When you say, I'm giving myself 12 months to make $5,000 saved, and you break that 5 months, you do it in 7 months, man, you start seeing how strong you truly are, how disciplined you become. When you don't realize that most people that are unsuccessful is because they lack the discipline to be successful. Being successful is not about being successful, it's about the maintaining the aspect of being successful. When you realize the hardest part about being successful is literally the mentality that it takes to preserve it. But if you don't preserve the mentality, you won't preserve the results. In order to preserve the results, you have to preserve the mentality. It's an accepted fate. We accept losing. But again, how can one see that they're losing when they're around people that are losing worse than them? How? 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 I was scared of myself. You ever been scared of yourself? I'm gonna tell you why you're scared of yourself. Some people are scared of the new version that they can become. So they'd rather stay around the old version because the old version, they're comfortable with it. And I say this on record, comfort is the devil. Comfort is the devil. The more you make yourself comfortable is the more you won't allow yourself. When you look at something called a salary builds a level of comfort. And what happens is when they give you a salary, they buy your future dreams, aspirations, and goals. So by giving you the salary, they just bought themselves your dream. Now guess what your dream is attached to? Their dream. And you start funneling your own dreams. You stop funneling your own goals. You stop chasing your own aspirations. This is where we at today. One of the dopest things I've ever seen is Usain Bolt said he trained over 4 years to run in under 10 seconds. So that race is a 10-second race. But he trained 4 years for a 10-second race. Y'all don't hear me. Sometimes when people ask for a certain amount of money, you look at it like, damn, they're asking for a lot for a skill that they train so hard with. They do things fast because of the fact that they trained and gotten this skill. Some of us don't even see that right now. This should be that focal point or that moment in your life where you look at yourself like, I'm not accepting this no more. I want more. And I'm gonna do more. In order for me to do more, I have to be uncomfortable knowing that this next chapter of my life is called uncomfortableness. And when you look at that level of uncomfortableness, you'll see there are three people in the world. Ones who always want to do what's easy, ones who kind of want to do what's hard, and ones who do what's hard. The person that does what's hard don't realize that it's hard because they always do what's hard. The person that's always do what's easy realize that their results reflect that the fact that they're always looking for the easy way. But getting uncomfortable, or getting comfortable rather, will make you have to be uncomfortable. To get comfortable, you have to be uncomfortable. Some of us don't want to hear that. You get comfortable by being uncomfortable. You get comfortable by being uncomfortable. And I realize that in life, you have to make yourself uncomfortable. I'm going to tell you something that's weird. I used to walk in rooms, and I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was at a speaking engagement, and I was standing behind a curtain. And the person that went before me, and I want y'all guys to hear this, this is a true story. I was standing behind a curtain, and the person that spoke before me had a PhD, Dr. such and such. And I looked at my man that was with me, I said, yo, bro, I don't think I should go because I don't think I'm worthy because of the level I haven't reached that they've reached. My man looked at me and said, you wouldn't be here if you wasn't deserving of it. But I said, bro, no disrespect. That person has his doctrine. And he said, it doesn't matter. God don't make no mistakes. You here for a reason. And when he said that, I looked at him. This is in the beginning of my speaking career. I said, you think I'm worthy? He said, we wouldn't be here if you wasn't. I went on a stage, and I'm going to be honest with you. I spoke, and this is one of my very first speaking engagements. I spoke from my heart. I said everything I could possibly think of my heart. When I say the room stood up and gave me an ovation, I looked at myself and said, imagine if I would have walked away when God was telling me, or the room was telling me that I belonged there. So sometimes you realize that you got comfortable going a certain way. You know, sometimes the way you think is the fastest way home isn't the fastest way home. But you got so used to taking that way home, you believe that that's the fastest way home. But you're so comfortable because you've taken this way home so long. It doesn't mean it's the fastest way home. But I ask, you've been doing something for 20 years. Are you willing to come out of your comfort to try something completely new? We always ask this question. Imagine walking into a room full of people that's speaking a language you don't know. Are you willing to stay in this room? Are you willing to stay in this room? In most cases, the people that stay in a room with the people that are speaking a different language are the ones who learn the new language. And success seeks a language that unsuccessful people can't understand. Success speaks a language that unsuccessful people can't understand. It's a phobia that people walk around with every day of becoming their best version of themselves. Because in order to be the best version of yourself, you got to see the ugliest version of yourself. Who wants to look in the mirror and see themselves very unattractive? Because it's not the physical, it's the internal. Most people don't see internally you're ugly because of how you see yourself. Some of the most attractive people don't even see how attractive they truly are. Some of the most happiest people would allow the world to make them unhappy. It is a grateful thing when you accept yourself for who you can become. But I don't want to fear me becoming the best version of myself. If I'm comfortable losing friends and family or anyone along my journey if they don't apply any kind of, they don't pour into anything that I'm doing. They don't believe. And when we say support, I don't mean you have to give me money. It's what likes, comments, shares. But if a person is not even to like a photo of yours, you believe they're willing to give you anything else? If they're not willing to support you free, they ain't gonna put no money in there. Excuses make today easy, but tomorrow will definitely be harder. Let me say that again. Excuses make today easy, but for your excuses, tomorrow will definitely be harder. And a lot of us don't see that our tomorrows are going to be harder because of our excuses. You have opened the door. You're having a party with your excuses. I failed classes because my teacher was jealous of me. That sounds crazy. You ain't going to say you didn't do enough. I said somebody right now should sign up for extra credit for themselves right now. Right now. Sign up for extra credit. Ask yourself, tomorrow is another day. What am I willing to do tomorrow to make it greater than my today? What am I willing to do tomorrow that could put me in a better position than I am today? What can I do? What can I do? You don't want to answer that question. Are you willing to read more? For my people in my life, are you willing to read more? Yes or no? Are you willing to read more? I'm asking my people in my life. Someone said yes. I'm asking the next question. Are you willing to be a student again? Are you willing to be a student? Someone said yes. I'm asking more questions. Are you willing to do more when you feel like you're doing a lot already? My guys always say to me, when we say this statement, we say, we're doing a lot. And when you feel like you're doing a lot, what is the term? Do more. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. And I'm going to tell you something in life, and I want people on this live to realize this. There's a difference between being smart and intelligent. A smart person can regurgitate information. They can tell you everything they should do and what they should do and how they should do it and tell you how people made success and way they got to success. But when you look at their results, in most cases, they don't meet the status quo of what they know. Because now what happens is when most people that are smart, they lack intelligence. Intelligence is the application aspect. Can you apply what your smarts know? You know all the information on doing this, that, and the third, but you can't apply it. So that means your smarts have to meet your intelligence in order for you to become successful. Your smarts have to meet your intelligence. You have to introduce your smarts to your intelligence. You're smart, but you're not intelligent. Are you intelligent, but you're not smart? It has to be a balance in between them two. You have to be smart, but also intelligent. You have to be intelligent, but also smart. Because you have to be able to gain the information and apply the information in order for it to make sense. Work a 9 to 5 till you preserve the present. Hold on, let me say this again. Work at a 9 to 5 till you preserve the present, right? Hold on. That's funny. Sometimes you got to work at a 9 to 5. So you can use that resources to go into what you want from your 5 to 9. If you're not investing your 9 to 5, that's your stability. But what you do after your 9 to 5 is what creates the results that you truly want. Are you willing to work the 5 to 9 shift also? You did the 9 to 5, but are you willing to do the 5 to 9? The 5 to 10? When you say that you're doing overtime, sometimes it's the things that you do for free that will ultimately pay you later in life because you were working on a skill that you were acquiring, so therefore you can be paid the price you're being paid today. A lot of times, people that make a lot of money have done their thing for free forever. A painter didn't just start painting today and start making millions of dollars on paintings. They painted 1,000 photos before they got their first check. An NBA player did not get a paycheck the first time they made a basket. A runner did not get paid the first day they ran. A barber did not make money the first haircut they've done. A garbage man did not get paid the first garbage he took out. And this is reality. You cannot understand or realize that in life, you got to do things that you want for free so you can become great at it. Along the journey to success, you will see a lot of failure. You will hear a lot of stories of people saying you shouldn't do more. You should quit. If I was you, I wouldn't. You're wasting your time. But I'm going to tell you something. Every day you go to work outside of getting a paycheck, you're wasting your time because you are working someone else's dream. But I asked this question today. When you going to start working your dream? When you going to start believing in your dream? When you going to start chasing your own results and the better you want to be? When you tell people your plan, they'll ask, well, what are you going to do if it doesn't work? You tell them, I'll go back and do the same thing you're doing now. And that's how you have to tell them. You got to ruffle feathers of the haters. I'm going to tell you something. Hate don't mean somebody don't want to see you win. Hate could be simply someone don't want to see you surpass them. A hater could be the closest friends you have. Because in order to outgrow someone or to start growing, in most cases, you're going to grow past people. But ask, are you willing to grow past people? Because on your journey to becoming the greatest self, you'll notice that you don't have as many friends as you had when you were a loser. Notice, more losers have more friends than actual winners. Ain't that crazy? More losers have more friends than winners. And why is that? Because they're crabs in a barrel and they love to hold each other down. And as we said before, birds of a feather flock together. You'll never be great without gratitude. Because what rhymes with gratitude is your attitude. Your attitude is a reflection of your life. You'll see why most people won't win. You're going into the fight of life, right? And you already said, yo, I'm about to lose. So in most cases, what will you do? You're going to lose. You've told yourself that you were going to lose before you even lost. As a former athlete, I would never want to play sports with someone that's already scared. Being nervous is normal before you start the contest, right? But going there speaking death into something that's supposed to be speaking life into it. You got to speak life into yourself. And that's a mentality. That's a mentality. Your mentality is a reflection of your reality. Your mentality is a reflection of your reality. I used to say to myself when I was younger, I'm waiting for things to happen. I'm waiting for change. I'm waiting for growth. I'm waiting for elevation. But I'm going to tell you something. Nothing in your life is ever going to happen unless you do it. Let's call it what it is. Nothing in your life is going to happen unless you do it. And this is the truth. A lot of times we want to say it's the world. It's not the world. I genuinely believe that the world for success has more spaces for more people to be successful than not. Because I'm going to tell you something. You ever heard the saying, he or she is successful in their own right? The reason why that should resonate with a lot of people is because you know your starting point. And when a person knows their starting point, they should be proud of themselves. If you are a guy that ran a 5 flat speed and you got it down to a 4.7, you should be proud. Yes, the person runs a 4.4 or a 4.2, they're faster than you, but you still were able to get faster. That's what you got to give yourself. Sometimes you got to stop comparing yourself to others and give yourself a pat in the back. Your biggest critic should be yourself, but your biggest fan should also be yourself. Your biggest fan should also be yourself. A lot of times we are our biggest critic, but we don't give ourselves no support. It's easier to lose when we don't even believe in ourselves. I made mistakes along my journey. And the reason why I made mistakes is because of the fact that I gave my excuse based on my behavior. A lot of us will accommodate our behavior. We want the world to accept our poor behavior. But the world won't accept your poor behavior because you'll notice that the people you tend to be around is the people that make you comfortable. When you tell a simple-minded person, a logical thinking, a simple-minded person can only think simple. I remember having a conversation with a guy, and I told him I want to do so much more. But this guy couldn't see no more than what he saw because he kept comparing everything to his lens. And the problem with a fixed mentality is your lens becomes your reality. But when you have a growth mentality, your mind is willing to understand, how can I get there? You're looking for the destination. Some people are talking about what's going on. Some people are watching things that's going on, and some people are out here making it happen. There are 3 types of people in the world. Let me say that again, Kinsey. There are ones who are talking about what's happening, ones who are watching what's happening, and ones who are making it happen. You got to choose which one you're going to be. Because I choose today to be the one that's out here making it happen. Because as long as you keep talking about what's happening, you'll never see what's going on. You can talk about somebody's success, but you don't see that. That's why you're not successful. You're too busy over watching somebody else. That's the problem with social media. It's giving us a lens to keep watching other people's lives. And we're not watching our own lives. You look in the window. You stare at others. You daydream. You wish you could have that car. You wish you could have that house. Some of us even wish we could have those relationships. But here's the problem with wishing for things that you cannot sustain. You will lose it as fast as you got it. And the sad part is, rather than you learn how they got there, you just want the success and the results. But there is no success without learning the lesson that comes with becoming successful. We got to go back and talk to that young version of ourselves, that little girl, that little boy, and say, what happened to me? What made me stop believing in myself? What made me quit? Why am I not doing no more? That little queen that's inside of you, queens, that little king that's inside of you, you gotta go talk to him. You gotta go talk to her. What happened along this journey? Okay, yes, my dad wasn't there, but that's an excuse. Okay, my mom is not rich, but I can be rich. We say things like a rich family don't come. I don't come from no rich family, but a rich family will come from us. That's a mentality. You got to speak to that little girl. You got to say to her, I understand you made poor choices, but you are so deserving of more. That little boy, I understand that you made poor choices, but you deserve so much more. There are people who still hold themselves hostage to everything they've done in their past. But they don't realize that their past will affect their future if they can't get past their past. Your past is not, and it does not have to reflect your future. What you've done to yourself in the past don't mean it's who you are today. I know women that were promiscuous, but they ain't promiscuous anymore. I know men that were losers, but they ain't losers no more. I know people that used to always hang out and smoke all day. They don't smoke anymore. I know people who've done the wrong and now they want to do the right because they accepted that they've made poor choices, but today is a new day. We gotta let it go. A lot of us won't let go. And you know why we won't let go? Because there's a part of us that holds on to a moment, and this moment becomes our most prominent day of our life to the point where we can't see that we're not creating new moments. We're crippling ourselves. We're giving ourselves disabilities. A lot of us make excuses for our poor behavior. It's time we stop making those excuses and say to yourself, if I want more, I'm gonna do more. And I'm gonna get exactly what I get out of it, what I put in. In most cases, the best students in the class are the ones who study the hardest. So I'm gonna study harder. But I'm not gonna only study, I'm gonna apply the information I learned while I'm studying. No more making excuses. It's time to stop letting things go over our head. Let's stop missing the message. Because smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. I ain't hear that. Smart people learn from the mistakes. They learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. But the one thing I will tell you, get back in the game. Go for another round. Don't quit on yourself. Believe that you are deserving and worthy. And here's a gem. Be patient and keep working. And I promise you it will happen. Let me say that again. Be patient, but keep working. And I promise you it will happen. So I say this before I get out of here today. What is a king without a village? What is a queen without a village? There's absolutely nothing. So in order for you to become great, you got to realize where you're kinging and where you're queening. You got to go to where you accept it to be the best version of yourself. Sometimes you got to realize you may have outgrown those middle school clothes that you keep trying to put on. Your clothes ain't fitting no more. And the mentality you had before is no longer who you are today. And the moment you can accept that is the moment you'll realize that it is time for a change. And the only way you can change, if you accept the fact that you're so much deserving of more. Till next time, guys. Don't let that go over your head.